So now how to use a story in your business and social media to attract, connect, and engage with your prospects and clients. Okay, I'm gonna show you the general script over here for MESS. Like I said, it only has 3 elements. Okay, these elements are sort of chosen from the bigger script, which is the Epiphany Grid script. And we have only one for each section, okay? The before section, the discovery section, and the after section. And some of you might actually know this, that I was sharing all these like ads on TV when people are showing like before and after effect, right? And in between is like, I did this, I discovered this, I took this pill, I did this diet, I discovered this book, I used this strategy or this framework, and that happened, right? So it's pretty much that. Now, in these 3 sections, before you're gonna share your story, you just wanna pretty much just write down bullet points. Don't write down like, you know, big paragraphs over here or long text. This is bullet. That's it, right? I would say, according to Tony Robbins, people are like, they like 3s, right? If you give them 3 facts or 3 emotions or 3 things to focus on, they'll be able to follow. Right? If you give them more, they might be like a little bit overwhelmed. If you give them less, they might still be hungry for more. Okay, that's sort of his teaching. I like 3s as well, because this is like not too long and you can prove a point, right? So what's happening over here is this. When it comes to before, it's the moment when you're meeting your client, right? This is you're going back out of your shoes and into the shoes of your prospect, your client, the person that you will be sharing your story with, right? So you will think about what they think about, what they want to hear, what are their emotional state right now, right? And those will be the points on that you need to sort of highlight in your story, right? The discovery part is the moment when you discovered something that changed your life or changed the way you used to be, right? So those, for each point, you will have a little bit different discovery, right? I was thin, then I discovered this diet, and sorry, I was fat, and then I discovered this diet, and now I'm thin, right? This is like the most simplified version, right? But that you get the point, right? I will show you in a second how it's done, right? This is just a general idea for you to structure your story, okay? And you can do this really, really quickly, right? Now, I'm gonna give you 3 pro tips from mentors that will make this even easier, okay? Not only the structure is easy, because I'm guessing it is easy, can't be easier than that, but now how to make it even better. So these are the 3 tips that I promised in trailers that I'm gonna give you, okay? So tip number 1, avatar card, which is you need to know exactly who you're gonna talk to, right? Who is the person on the other side of the camera, right? We'll talk about it in a second. Second tip is hook hunt. Okay, so this is sort of like a strategy. Where do you start? How do you choose the right moment in time or right scene in your life that you want to share, right? Because you might have a lot of different little things that you want to share with your client or with your prospect, and you don't want to stretch this story like forever, right? So how do you choose the right moment to start the story? I'm gonna show you that in a moment. And then finally, emotion high-low, right? So this is another super cool tip, which says basically that in this story, in this short story that you'll be sharing, your biggest focus should be on emotions, on sharing how did you feel back then, and then how did you feel after, okay? Instead of giving a lot of technical stuff and explaining how the thing works, you can leave that for later, for the teaching part, and here just focus mostly on these emotions. So when you'll be filling in this this rubric over here, you can actually fill the rubric with emotions, like, okay, emotion 1, emotion 2, emotion 3, emotion 4 that I'll be talking about, right? So now let's just have a look just a little bit into these 3 tips, okay? Tip number 1, avatar card. You've probably seen those. A lot of people have their different ideas for how do you create or visualize the person that you're talking to, right? I call it avatar card because that's what it literally is, right? So what it is pretty much you're narrowing down your audience to one person alone, okay? And you can have one person for a male figure and one for a female figure, right? This is straight from Russell Brunson's books. If you didn't read his trilogy, then I recommend that. You can let me know later on. I can definitely share with you more information about this. But what Russell shares in his books is that once you have a very clear understanding who are you talking to the point that you know what's their pain point, what's their desires, what are they good at, what are they not good at, who are they following already. So that will give you the clear understanding what kind of words and what kind of language you should use and what kind of emotions you can share so they will connect with you, okay? So I have these cards. By the way, I'm very happy to share the template with you guys. If you want to have these templates for your avatar, reach out to me later on. And this is made in Canva. So I'm just gonna give you a template and you can just change whatever you want. You can have your avatar cards, yeah? Awesome. I figured that you might want it. Okay, so you see that I have Sarah and I have Mike Wazowski, right? So these are my dream students, my dream clients. Now, whenever I go, the tip over here is whenever I create my mass story or whatever story, Epiphany Bridge story as well, I look at this card. I have it printed in front of my face, right? And I'm just looking at it. This is not a lot of text over here. As you can see, I just put some bullets over here because I want to know the most important stuff about Mike and about Sarah, right? I don't need to know their life story. I just need to know the most important things. And then whenever I start building these, like my story, I read this first because it sort of like tells me, okay, I know Mike, I know Sarah, I know what they're thinking. Now I can share the story, right? So I think that you will probably want to see a bigger version of this. So let me just let me just show you. I think I have it here. And there you go. So you can see Mike. Is that visible now? You can see? So you can see what I have, right? Like who Mike is, a little bit of his personal profile, right? His pain points, his desires, what he loves to do, what are his key skills, where to find him, right? So basically, where is he hanging out the most when it comes to like online platforms, and then who he's following or what he's listening, right? And the same thing, for Sarah, right? So the format is the same. All you're gonna do is just change the bullet points for your own avatar, right? And it's a work in progress. Like you can put like one bullet at the beginning or one skill at the beginning or one person that they follow at the beginning, and then they can grow later. Yeah, you don't have to put like a lot of stuff at the beginning. So I hope that helps. And now once you know, I think that this is, I'm just gonna stop because I need to see the chat for a second. Tell me if that makes sense. If the first tip makes sense, that if you see the avatar, a person that you're talking to, it helps to create the story. Make sense or not? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Right. And I know that sometimes it seems like a lot of work, like you have to describe a person and then, you know, like every time you're going to talk to a different person, but that's not true, right? You're going to have your dream avatars that just for the marketing purposes, you're still going to sell your stuff or attract more people than just one avatar, right? So don't worry about that. You need this because it will make your storytelling easier. Just baby simple, right? So cool. I'm happy that you guys following this. So now tip number 2 is hook hunt. Okay, hook hunt. This tip, the other tip was from Russell Brunson. This tip is from Jim Edwards. Okay, another brilliant copywriter, multi-billionaire, by the way. So we better listen to this guy because he knows what he's talking about. Okay, he had a really cool session on a cruise boat to only people who are in what is it, like 2 club, or not even 2 club, they're like XX, so they earn 10 millions from one funnels, right? And that was just for them. Okay, and those of you who were with me through One Funnel Away challenge, you might actually seen this before, right? So what is this for? Like, how is this connected with mass and with what we're going to do over here? Jim was talking about how do you find the best hook? Where do you start the story? Because a lot of like we are like, there's so many different things that I can share, right? Or I don't know what I should share. Like both options, right? Now the thing is that he talks about, okay, the most important part where that will be the easiest to start is the extremum, right? So you don't start, when you're creating your story, you're actually not starting the story from the start. You're starting the story from either rock bottom or high, like emotional high or emotional low. I'm going to show you in a moment a different slide to show it. So that's going to be a pivotal moment. That's going to be the discovery, the aha moment that changed stuff in your life completely, from this to that. What was that moment, right? That's the moment when you want to start creating your script. So you don't really start, I'm going to go back here. You don't really start here creating your before, discovery, after from before. You start from discovery. What's the pivot? What's the thing that changed everything? That's the moment, that's the thing that you want to start with. And only then you're going to create a backstory for this and the after story for this. Okay? That will give you a really good focus on what is the actual thing that you're sharing over here. That is a eye opener for your person, right? For your avatar. So start here, rock bottom or heaven, right? And then you can see that Jim was also talking about how this whole story should be connected to emotions, right? So you start with either high or low. That's how you create that's your first step. But then when you're creating your backstory and your after story, you also want to talk about emotions and not about how to or what I did or how it worked or like just like technical stuff. All right. So here is a list from Jim of the most powerful emotions that you might want to include in your story. Right? Fear, loss, gain, pain, strain, right? The big ones. But you can basically come up with more emotions that you will be talking about. Okay? So that's those are the 3 tips. And you can see, like I said, going back to our script over here. Start with the discovery, was the pivotal moment. And then think about what kind of emotions you were feeling before that, right? And those, by the way, is what your avatar is scared the most, right? Those emotions that you had before, this is his reality, right? And he's scared of these emotions too, right? And then the emotions that you will be talking about after the discovery, those are his dreams. Those are his desires, okay? So we're going from the low to the high, okay? All right, I'm just gonna stop for a second just to see your comments over here. Avatar have too many stories. Hey, no worries, Monica. Yeah, this is all streamed on Facebook, so you can see this. And in case you guys can't stay for longer, then you're still gonna have a chance to join the challenge mode later, where you're still sharing the story. Okay. So for now, guys, is it all clear about how do you structure the mess? Any questions about the structure of mess, of before, discovery, after? You can either unmute yourself or type in a chat. I just want to make sure that we got this.
Hi, Mike. Good morning. Dion here. Will we have access to this information?
Yes. So this is streamed on Facebook, guys, inside School of Self-Mastery, and I will add it to guides. I think it's the guide 3. Social media storytelling secrets, right? So when you go back to Facebook, you will find it there. I'm actually going to show you one more time. If you go to Facebook, right, our group, School of Self-Mastery, right, and go to guides, right? Inside guides, you're going to have guide number 3, social media storytelling secrets, right? So you can catch all our previous sessions about this when I was talking a little bit more about hook, story, close, and about who, how, what, and an epiphany bridge script, right? So this session over here will be added at the bottom of this guide. Yeah.
Thank you.
You can get it from here. All right. So let's see. Any other questions, guys, about this structure? Is that clear over here so far?
I wanted to ask, is it possible instead of using these 5, can I say I want to use hope, something that I hope for, or instead of using fear, loss, or gain, or pain, or strain?
Totally. Like obviously the emotions, like I said, you can put all kind of emotions, right? You don't have to like limit yourself to only this listed over there, right? Those were sort of like, according to his statistics, Jim Edwards' statistics, those were the best performing in his funnels, right? But it doesn't mean that you only have to use that. Until you're using emotions and that's the base for your story, you're good, right? It's the idea over here is to, instead of talking about stuff that happened and technical, you know, roads, right? Or your technical journey, what you did, you talk about this transformational journey, because that will tap into their emotions, and people are emotional creatures, and they make decisions based on emotions and not logic, right? Logic comes later. That make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Yeah, so totally feel free to just list down the emotions that you actually felt before and then after, right? Those are your emotions, not just like artificial stuff. Okay, what other questions we have? So if this is the before, discovery, and after story part, and Dean's hook, story, close. So hook, story, close. Okay, when Dean was talking about hook, story, close, this is sort of like a more general framework, right? So he says about hook is the element that grabs attention, right? You have to have a good headline or a good one sentence that will grab attention, right? Story is in between, is something that creates connection, right? Builds the bridge between you and the person. And what I'm doing over here, the mess, is the structure for that story part, right? So before that, you're gonna have your hook. And after that, you're gonna have your CTA, your call to action, yeah? Mess is coming with, in a bigger framework of Dean's, mess is coming in between. I'm gonna actually write it down over here, because I want to make sure that you see how it fits inside the bigger. So it's like this, you get 3 elements, right? over here. This is the framework from Dean and from Russell, right? So here they say hook, story, and then they say offer. Okay, hook, story, offer. And then mess, what we're practicing today is a breakdown for this part, okay? So the easiest way to share a story is by doing it this way, right? You first give people some hook, then you share your story through mess, which is before, discovery, and after, and then there is an offer. But between an offer and a story, there is one extra element. Dean calls it bridge, all right? But all it is just like a sentence or a moral that ties your story with what's happening next. And that offer over here, it can be everything, by the way. So it can be, for example, you pitching your offer, right? Or it can be you teaching. The teaching comes next, right? So you have to share the story to connect with people emotionally, right? Make sure that they're listening, and then you can teach them something, right? So that offer stands for either a pitch or teach, right? Both things comes here, and in between, there is just a bridge. Okay, so this is the bigger structure. Okay, today we're only practicing this part over here, the story part. Yep, make sense?